I think people underestimate the opportunity to take risk that you have when you're young.
If the why isn't big enough, then you'll never have the drive, the determination to get out of bed early and finish that thing.
The key to not being envious and to not get resentful of other people's success is to know what your definition of success is.
I don't think it's a type of person, I think it's a type of choice.
There was not a moment where I thought, should I or shouldn't I do this? It was just straight up, I know this is the right thing to do.
Today, we explore 7 tools that will break those habits. Today's video is sponsored by Mulliganbrothers.com, the best motivational clothing brand in the world, where you can now get the hardest work in the room hoodies and t-shirts and so much more with the link in the description, where all the profits go back into creating this content. Here are 7 tools from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, businessmen, sports people, military personnel to help stop those habits. I'm your host, Jordan Mulligan. Let's jump into this video.
If you want to start a company, you better love what you're creating, you know, in a really significant way. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, if you are not the #1 fan of your product, you fucked up, because you got to make it. You made it. And if you don't make something that you love, then you made a mistake. You're trying to be clever. Don't try to be clever. Make the thing that you want the very most and that you're going to love the very most. And your passion for that is going to be felt and it's going to be shared by your audience. And that's like the most important thing I can tell somebody, you know. But for me, the thing that makes me intelligent is that I know myself. And if I know myself and I'm honest with myself and I love something, then I know that thing is lovable, because at least I love it.
So I would say you don't need to be an expert, and I'd also say that there's definitely I think people underestimate the opportunity to take risk that you have when you're young. I managed to save, I think it was £2,000 or whatever it was, maybe probably less than that actually. And for me, that was my life savings, and I risked everything. So that thing of, I risked my life savings to do this, but it's just nothing in comparison to the risks that, you know, my grandparents and even my parents have taken. So there's a saying that I've heard, I think Jordan Peterson says it, and he says, he who has a why can bear any how. And I think that's really important, because like, fitness was my why. Like, you've got to remember that fitness completely changed my life. Going to the gym shifted everything. It shifted my physical health, my mental health. It completely shifted my academic life. It got me into sort of a university that I thought I would never be able to get near. And it gave me the opportunity to learn things such as Photoshop, Dreamweaver, and all the other stuff through the skills that I learned in the gym. So fitness for me was like my why. It was like, I want other people to have that experience. So for me to risk what at the time was my life savings was, honestly, there was not a moment where I thought, should I or shouldn't I do this? It was just straight up, I know this is the right thing to do.
There's a big lesson there in anything that you do. If the why isn't big enough, then you'll never have the drive, the determination to get out of bed early and finish that thing. And so let's say I just say, I'm going to join the Marines, there's nothing else going on, like my apprenticeship's finished, and you get down there and you're in week 10 and you're getting smashed and you're, you know, cold, wet, hungry, tired. Then it's very easy to just stick your hand up and say, I'm sacking it off. Whereas if that's all you've wanted to do, and that is your end state, is to get there, then, like for me, in those hard times, I was in my absolute element. I was living my dream. It's hard to explain it, but I had this like fire inside my stomach that I was doing the thing that I wanted to do, and it was such an amazing feeling, and I feel lucky that I found that early on, because it shaped the rest of my life.
When you have a brilliant brain, we all have an amazing brain, so we all have the same choice. You can rationalize why you feel so bad, or you can talk yourself out of it. So I don't think it's a type of person, I think it's a type of choice. Rationalize why you feel so bad, or talk yourself out of it. Because, you know, we do have a choice. We can all be negative or positive. We can go every day, oh, I hate my life, and, you know, COVID's made the world so miserable and I can't find the right job. Or you could say, no, I can do all of those things. You can choose being negative or positive, but you can't choose what it does to your body. If you could look inside into the inflammation, the cortisol, the stress hormones you make when you say things like, my job is killing me, this commute is killing me, this paperwork is driving me crazy, I'm dying under my taxes, you would never, ever even say it again, because it has such a negative effect on you. And it's like saying, I'm terrified, I'm excited, this is killing me, it's challenging me. I got an awful memory, got a great memory. If I look at a cake, I get fat, I got a fantastic metabolic rate. You can choose which one to say. And the thing about the mind is it doesn't know, and it certainly doesn't care if what you tell it is good or bad, true or false, right or wrong. So if you're going to say, if I look at a cake, I gain a pound, you might as well say, I've got a great metabolic rate, because whatever you tell your mind is probably going to become your reality.
In today's world with social media, it's so easy to look around and think that other people are happier, healthier, wealthier, that they have better lives than you do. We found, though, that envying people on social media is directly linked to depression and other mental health problems, that it takes a huge toll on our psychological well-being. And the key to not being envious and to not get resentful of other people's success is to know what your definition of success is. When you're really clear on what would make a successful, good life for you, it won't matter to you as much what other people are doing. If they're working toward their own definition of success and you're working towards your definition of success, then you'll realize that they aren't taking anything away from you, that it's okay for them to go ahead and reach their goals. That doesn't mean you can't reach yours, because your goals are different. We tend to treat life like it's a race to see who can be the happiest, like there's a prize at the end, that if you are the happiest person, the most successful person, the richest person, that then somehow you're going to get a trophy or an award of some sort. And when we scroll through social media, we just look at other people's highlight reel and think, oh, that person must be happier. That person is more attractive. Look at how many likes that person got compared to me. And it becomes a really simple, quick way to draw those comparisons. And then the more we compare ourselves, the more we tend to think that we don't measure up. And it emphasizes every little insecurity we have, whether somebody thinks they're not attractive enough. I guarantee they'll find tons of people on social media who look more attractive. Or somebody who thinks I don't have enough money, they'll look around on social media and really emphasize everybody who drives a nicer car, has a nicer home, is going on more experiences. And it's so easy for us to forget that the people who are posting those things probably experience a lot of the same heartaches, struggles, issues that we do. They're just not talking about them.
So procrastination, from my point of view, well, first of all, I'd say procrastination is a lot of different things. It's in the medical terminology, and sometimes psychological terminology, when there's a lot of related behaviors that sort of connect, but we can't find a single unifying cause, we'll often call it a syndrome. So it might be more accurate to say a procrastination syndrome, but I kind of don't love the diagnostic terminology. Actually, I think it sometimes gets in the way. Like, I would never say someone is a procrastinator, because that's probably not true. You procrastinate maybe 5% of the time. That doesn't define you. In any event, procrastination, from my point of view, is a lot of different things, because there's lots of different reasons, but it's mainly avoidance. And at the first part, you might think, well, that's obvious. But I would say what's distinctive about procrastination is it's actually avoidance of things that we want to do or we think are valuable to us. That's the puzzle, right? So when someone says, Nick, I'm procrastinating from doing my taxes, I hate it, and I explain it, and then somebody else jumps in and says, well, that's dumb, they just don't want to do it. I would say absolutely right. If you don't want to do it and you don't do it, I don't think there's a puzzle that needs to be explained. However, many people procrastinate on things they value. They do not undertake tasks, or they feel an aversion to things that they think are really important to them, even things they like to do, things they care about. And there'll even be a pattern that the more they care about it, the more they feel the pull to procrastinate. That's a puzzle.
So deep work is just my term for where you are concentrating without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. So you're giving something your full attention. But that without distraction piece is a key attribute of the definition. Without distraction means no context shifting. This is something that a lot of people don't realize, and it causes a lot of issues in terms of actually trying to do cognitive work, which is, we know multitasking is bad, we've known this since the early 2000s, that if I'm literally trying to do two things simultaneously, okay, I can't really do them simultaneously. I'm switching back and forth. I'll do both worse. We know this. It's why if I'm working on editing a documentary or writing an article, I'm not going to keep my email inbox open while I'm doing it, or I'm not going to be on a phone call while I'm trying to write. I can't actually do both. We all recognize that, and we basically don't do that anymore. And so we're putting ourselves in this self-enforced state of reduced cognitive capacity. It feels terrible and we're exhausted. It's probably the feeling you're having trying to work on a documentary while having to context shift to all these business related matters. So deep work is I'm not only focusing on something hard, I'm doing it for an extended amount of time with none of those context shifts. I'm basically avoiding those things that brings down my capacity so I can actually operate at high capacity. And I think it's a critical behavior for success in any sort of non-trivial knowledge work, is the ability to give each thing attention until you reach a stopping point. So it can be your full cognitive context is the thing you're working on. This is how you unlock the full potential of your brain, avoid fatigue, avoid anxiety. One thing at a time, giving each thing its attention due, not having this background interleaved concurrent quick checks of all these channels simultaneously. I think that is the key to satisfaction, actually producing stuff that you're proud of.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everybody who has been involved in this video. The link to all their stuff is down below. Guys, we are on a new tour of doing interviews right now. We're interviewing people from all around the world, entrepreneurs, businessmen, monks, military guys, athletes, all with a story to tell, an inspiring message. So please comment down below, tag people in these videos. Who do you want us to interview next? Let us know some more names. We're going all around the world, so there is no place that is off limits to the Mulligan brothers. We will fly out to get that story from them. That is all made possible with Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now get the new journal and the t-shirts and the hoodies with a link in the description, where all the profits go back into making this content possible. Thank you to everybody who supported us. Thank you to everybody who's headed to Instagram at Mulligan Brothers, at Jordan Mulligan Brother, at Neve Mulligan X. Thank you for following us. Thank you guys. Have a blessed and productive day. Go inspire some change, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.